In today's video, we will be looking at how to calculate slope. So first of all, let's start off with 2 points. Let's say we have something like 0, 4. That's 1 point on a line. And the next point is something like 3, 10. So in our last video, when we looked at rise and run, we used rise over run to calculate the slope of a line. But if we don't have a line on a graph, we can use an actual formula to calculate slope. And this formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 and y1 and x2 and x1 are basically the two x coordinates we have, so 0 and 3, and the two y coordinates we have, which are 4 and 10. So basically to label these points, we can say this is x1 and this is x2 and this is y1 and this is y2. So it doesn't really matter which order these points are. We could have x2 and y2 here and x1 and y1 here. We just have to make sure that these are both x1 and y1 and these are both x2 and y2, not like x2 and y1 or x1 and y2. So now that we've labeled x1 and y1 and x2 and y2, we can just go ahead and substitute those values. So we have y2, so that's 10, and y1, which is minus 4, and we have x2, which is 3, minus 0, which is x1. So we have 10 minus 4 divided by 3 minus 0, which is 6 divided by 3. So that means our slope, or m value, equals 2. And y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1, we're basically finding the difference between the two y coordinates and the two x coordinates. So basically, we're finding the change in y and the change in x. So now let's look at another example with 2 points. Let's say we have uh, 5 and 3, and here we have negative 5 and 7. So those are the 2 points, and we're going to use our formula m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that means we have our x coordinates, which is x1 here and x2 here, and we have y1 here and y2 here. So we have y2 minus y1, so that's 7 minus 3, and x2, which is negative 5, minus x1, which is 5. So that's 7 minus 3, which is 4, divided by negative 10, which is negative 4 over 10, or negative 0.4. Okay, now so for our next example, we're going to be looking at another set of points. This time we have something like negative 5 and 7. And our next point is going to be 17 and 13. So we're going to use our formula m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 again. So if you just write that out here, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we can go ahead and label our points. So we have x1 and x2 here, and y1 and y2 here. So it's 13 minus 7 because that's y2 minus y1. And we're dividing this by 17 minus negative 5. So we have to include our 17 and our subtraction here, and we're subtracting negative 5. So that means we have 13 minus 7, which is 6, and we're dividing this by 17 minus negative 5. We have two negatives here. That means we are adding 17 plus 5, and that gives us 6 divided by 23, or 6 over 23. So in the final example of this video, we're going to take this line on this graph and try to find the slope of this line using our formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So first we're going to take 2 points on this line here, and these points should be whole numbers so it can be easier for us to subtract and divide. So we can find 2 points. Let's say we have this point here, which is negative 5 and negative 3. That's our first point, and our second point could be here, which is 5 and 7. So we're going to take x2 and x1 and y2 and y1, and first of course you have to label those points. So we have let's say this is x1 and y1 here, so this can be x1 and y1, and this can be x2 and y2. So now we have our points. All we have to do is sub them in to our equation. So we have m, which equals y2 minus y1, over x2 minus x1. So we have y2, which is here, which is 7, and we're subtracting y1, which is negative 3. And we have x2, which is here, which is 5, and we're subtracting x1, which is negative 5. So that gives us 10 divided by 10, since 7 minus negative 3 is 10, and 5 minus negative 5 is 10, and our slope is going to be 1. So we can even take this a step further and try to find the equation of this line. So if you remember in our video on partial variations, we looked at the equation y equals mx plus b. Where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept, and of course we know this is a partial variation since it doesn't cross the origin. It has a y-intercept that is not 0, 0. So now we can go ahead and write the equation. We have y equals, so we know that m equals 1, so it's basically 1 times x, which is x. And we have b, and which is our y-intercept, so b should be 0, 2, and our y-coordinate is 2, so that means our equation is x plus 2. And we could check to make sure this equation is right by subbing in x and c and seeing if we get y. So we have like a 0.57 here, and we could sub this in. We can get 5 plus 2, which is 7, and that's y. So that's correct. And we could also try this point here, which is negative 5 plus 2, which gives us negative 3. We can even look at another point on our line and like here we have 2, 4, so 2 plus 2, and that gives us 4. And that's how we can verify that this line has an equation of y equals x plus 2. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and now understand how to find slopes using this formula here. And you can also look back at the other videos on this channel. There's one video on slope where I look at how to find a slope using rise and run. So that's also another method you can use. But I think this method is much easier to find the slope. So I hope you understand those two methods. And in our next video, we're going to be looking at how to find the equations of this line. So basically, we're expanding our knowledge on this. So I hope you enjoyed that and are looking forward to this lesson. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to find more videos like this on this channel. Thank you.